Today's video is brought to you by Oxedo LED lighting. You might think that you can see just fine at night. Well, I did too, until I did this little upgrade. As you can see from this footage, here is some before Oxedo LED lighting, and here is some after Oxedo LED lighting. The difference is amazing. With high brightness and easy installation, Oxedo LED lighting is definitely the route for you. They're easy to install, and they're available for all makes and models. Click on the link in the description below and enter promo code 612motorsports at checkout to get yourself 15% off. Now back to our video. Hello and welcome back to another episode of 612 Motorsports. In today's episode, we are going to be discussing 8 different hemispherical engines that you probably weren't aware of ever existed. But before we get into today's video, you guys know the routine. Go ahead and hit that subscription button, the notification bell, leave a comment, a thumbs up, all that stuff. Super helpful and is very greatly appreciated. All right, let's get into this Hemi talk. I know a bunch of you Dodge Chrysler guys are really excited about this one, and so am I, because education is key. And if you can learn something about things you don't know about, or even learn more about things that you are already privy to, then more power to you. Remember, they can never take that away. So we're gonna learn about some Hemis today. Are you boys ready? Strapped in and all that? All right, let's get into this. When you guys hear the word Hemi, guaranteed Chrysler products pop into your mind. Why? Because they are the ones that are continuing to run that, have always pretty much ran those, and they are very popular because of the Chrysler Motor Company. Now, there are some other companies that made Hemis, and they just didn't find what they were looking for out of them for whatever reasons, but today we're going to go over a few of those while you enjoy this little video montage. What is a Hemi? Before we give up the goodies, we need to explain what Hemi means, because there are some nuances to the Hemi code. A Hemi refers to a type of engine with a combustion chamber design that consists of a pent roof shape with valves cantered to the center of the bore. This design admits more air and fuel into the cylinder because the total value curtain area is significantly greater than in a comparable wedge-shaped combustion chamber. A Hemi with a capital H refers specifically to a Chrysler-branded FCA V8 engine with this style of combustion chamber. Coincidentally, it also refers to a third-generation Chrysler V8 Hemi, which employs a semi-orbital spherical shaped rather than a true hemispherical shape. Leo Lyons small block Chevy Hemi. Dubbed by the folks at bangshift.com as some of the rarest speed parts ever, the Leo Lyons small block Chevy Hemi conversion cylinder head flat out makes a Ford Auburn flathead Hemi conversion look like it rolled off Ford's River Road assembly line. Leo Lyons ran a small operation out of San Bernardino, California, where he designed and built Hemi head conversion kits for small block Chevy, and as they are the rarest of the hen's teeth. You can see a pair of perfectly restored Leo Lyons small block Chevy heads while visiting the Speedway Motors Museum of American Speed in Lincoln, Nebraska. NickARS Jr. small block Ford Hemi. NickARS Jr. is a pioneer in engine building, and when the Chrysler Hemi became dominant in NHRA drag racing, the engineer/engine builder got to work on some Hemi heads designed for his own, including a big block Chevy Hemi engine conversion that never really caught on. Through the years, Arns dreamt of the Hemi and eventually got around to building some really beautiful Hemi heads for the small block Ford. Mickey Thompson, Ford FE Hemi. Everybody, well, almost everybody, already knows about Ford's 427 cubic inch single overhead cam Hemi that was available over the counter at Ford dealers, but never was placed under the hood of a production car. Although the single overhead cam was indeed a true Hemi-headed engine that still gets quite a lot of attention, race pioneer Mickey Thompson was on a parallel track developing a different Hemi-headed engine based on Ford's FE engine platform. The Chevy LS Hemi. Designed and built by Hammerhead Performance Engines, at the time it was called the Blasphemy, and folks agreed. It was a complete newsstand flop, made worse by the fact that the cylinder heads were originally designed to work with a small block Ford and were easily reconfigured to work on the Gen 5 LS. It made 636 horsepower on pump gas. Hammerhead small block Ford Hemi. That Chevy LS Hemi would never have happened if it were not for the Hammerhead's earlier small block Ford Hemi. Hammerhead's Greg Brown worked many years for famed Ford engine builder and Boss 429 Hemi expert John Koss, and he was certainly present at the 2012 Engine Masters Challenge when NickARS Jr. showed up with his Hemi-headed small block Ford to the competition. Having worked with Koss to develop bolt-on Hemi cylinder heads for a passenger car Ford 460, Brown designed the Hammerhead units with lessons observed from many sources, including the ARNT's effort. The Chevy 302 small block Hemi. What? You didn't know Chevy built small block Hemi V8s in 1969? At the time, racing in SCCA's Premier Trans Am series was a prestige thing, and winning it was even better. With Ford and Chevy battling it out through the golden years of Trans Am, the Bowtie Boys needed to secure an edge over Ford and took it upon themselves to develop a Hemi-headed small block Chevy with an SCCA-sanctioned displacement of 302 cubic inch. The idea never took hold in the front office, and the only known Chevy prototype was sent to Smokey Yanko's best damn garage in town, where it was massaged and eventually ended up in a '69 Camaro Z28, now owned by Rick George. John Koss Racing Boss 9. You might be tempted to say John Koss Racing Engine's Boss 9 Hemi conversion is a copy of the original Ford Boss 429 Blue Crescent, but you'd be wrong. Unlike the original Boss 429, the JKRE Boss 9 setup used as a standard Ford 60 package passenger car block rather than the specialized 429 prepped block by the Ford company. Unlike the original Boss 429, the JKRE Boss 9 setup uses a standard Ford 60 passenger car block rather than the specialized 429 prepped block used by Ford for the Boss 429. Moreover, the JKRE Boss 9 places the intake and exhaust ports in or near their expected Ford 60 passenger car positions. The Ford Boss 9 goes to great lengths to reproduce the sexy external appearance of the original Boss 429 and requires none of that crazy block prep that went into the original Boss 429. What's more is the superior performance of the JKRE Boss 9 design. When combined with a modest 460 base short block and stroker kit, it is capable of near 1,000 horsepower on pump gas, a feat the original couldn't get close to. Unlike many of the other Hemi conversions talked about here, the JKRE Boss 9 Hemi conversion is something you can still get today, and it's a fraction of the cost of the original Boss 429. The Oldsmobile 4-valve W43 Hemi. As hard as Oldsmobile tried to join the performance club with its 442, the W Series performance engines, and a prolific line of Hurst co-branded package cars, the GM division was always hampered with an engine design that was big on torque, but not so big on race-winning horsepower. Although there are many who might disagree with that today, Oldsmobile was worried about it enough that in 1968 they began to develop a 4-valve Hemi-headed W43 engine that could see production in 1972's model production year. The EPA and oil embargo put a swift end to that, and all we have left is a few faded photos to prove it ever existed at all. Well, I hope you learned a little something about other odd Hemi engines that are out there. A lot of those I didn't know existed, and I'll probably do a little research into some of those and find out a little bit more. Some of those sounded pretty interesting. I hope you agreed. With that being said, as always, stay positive, work hard, and make it happen.